Ready to strengthen your reading comprehension? Take a listen.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a really critical intersection in criminal defense, navigating the actual mechanical realities of a weapons under disability charge. You'll often hear this just called would. And, more importantly, we're looking at the specific pretrial motions you absolutely have to master to fight it. We're going to break down the substantive law first and then dive deep into the procedural tools you've got to use to protect your client. If you don't know the exact difference between a temporary filter and a permanent shield in the courtroom, well, you're going to want to pay close attention.
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering Section 1, Weapons under Disability. Section 2, the motion in limine. Section 3, the motion to suppress. Section 4, suppress versus limine. And finally, Section 5, preserving the record. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Weapons under Disability. The core offense.
So before we can fight the charge, we have to understand it, right? The absolutely crucial point here is that a would charge hinges entirely on the status of the defendant. It's about their knowledge of possessing the weapon, not whether they knew they had a legal disability. The state literally only needs to prove the defendant knowingly possessed an operable firearm while belonging to a prohibited category. It's a very strict standard. Oh, and the firearm? It has to be operable, or at least readily capable of being rendered operable. To actually secure a conviction, the state has to strictly prove 4 specific elements. First up, knowing possession. Second, the existence of a statutory disability. Now, these disabilities can really run the gamut. We're talking anything from a past felony drug conviction to being a fugitive from justice, or even facing mental incompetence adjudications. Third, the state has to show the defendant hasn't been legally relieved of this disability. And fourth, this is a big one, if the disability is based on a prior conviction, they have to prove that prior record beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Look at the distinction between actual and constructive possession. Knowingly having a firearm doesn't just mean literally holding it in your hands, which is what we call actual possession. It also includes constructive possession. That basically means the defendant has dominion or control over the weapon. So even if it's tucked away in a glove box or sitting in a closet all the way across the room, if they control it, well, they possess it under the law.
Moving right along to Section 2, the motion in limine, the temporary filter.
This foundational case law, State v. Grubb, perfectly illustrates what a motion in limine actually is. Think of it as an interlocutory, tentative ruling by the trial court. Its entire job, its whole purpose, is to act as a temporary filter. It keeps irrelevant, hearsay, or highly prejudicial stuff away from the jury's ears until the judge can decide on it in the proper context of the actual trial. It's just a precautionary measure, right? Not a final decision. The judge can, and honestly often does, change their mind once the trial is actually underway.
Now, for Section 3, the motion to suppress, the permanent shield. In stark contrast to that temporary filter, we have the permanent shield. Looking at the Criminal Rule 12 timeline, you'll notice some incredibly unforgiving timing rules. A motion to suppress is designed to completely exclude evidence obtained in direct violation of constitutional rights. Think Fourth Amendment illegal searches or Fifth Amendment Miranda violations. Because this tool is so powerful, the rules are incredibly strict. You have to file this motion within 35 days of arraignment or 7 days before trial, whichever comes first. Miss this window, you waive the issue entirely, unless you somehow convince the judge to grant you relief for good cause. Which brings us to Section 4, suppress versus limonide, the crucial distinctions.
Let's put these two tools side by side, because confusing them in practice can literally derail your entire defense strategy. This matrix maps out exactly how they oppose each other. Notice how suppression is constitutional in purpose. It's strict on its pretrial timing, the ruling is final and binding at trial, and hey, if the state loses, they can automatically appeal it. But now, look at the limine side. It's evidentiary. It deals with things like prejudice or relevance. It's flexible with timing. Its rulings are totally tentative, and most importantly, a limine ruling does not automatically preserve an issue for your appeal. And you know, that last point actually brings us to a really vital warning.
Section 5, preserving the record, the trap for the unwary.
I really want you to consider this scenario carefully. What happens if you try to use a motion in limine to argue a Fourth Amendment constitutional violation? Or what if you just casually file your suppression motion on day 40 instead of day 35? Well, the court's response to procedural errors is incredibly harsh. Honestly, it will cost your client dearly.
Welcome to the waiver trap. If you miss that 35-day suppression window without proving good cause, the court will simply deem your constitutional argument waived. Period. End of story. Judges aren't exactly known for their flexibility here. But actually, the limine trap is even sneakier. Let's say you file a brilliant motion in limine before trial, the judge rules against you, and then you just sit silently at trial when the prosecutor introduces that exact piece of evidence. Guess what? You completely waive your right to challenge the issue on appeal.
So, how do you survive the waiver trap with a motion in limine? You absolutely must follow these exact steps. Yes, step 1, you file the pretrial motion. Step 2, you get your tentative ruling. But steps 3 and 4, that's where cases are actually saved. You must wait for that specific evidence to be introduced in the natural flow of the trial, and at that exact moment, you have to raise a specific contemporaneous objection on the record. You have to renew your objection out loud, or the appellate court will just assume you accepted the evidence.
Ultimately, this just highlights that mastering the mechanical rules of evidence is every bit as critical as mastering the substantive law of the Wood charge itself. You can know exactly what constitutes constructive possession, and you can know for a fact that your client's prior record shouldn't be admitted. But if you drop your shield at trial by missing a deadline or just forgetting an objection, all that legal knowledge is completely useless to the person you are defending.
So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought to challenge your own legal toolkit. Are you truly confident in when to deploy a permanent shield versus a temporary filter? I highly encourage you to double-check your pretrial strategies, review your timelines, and always prepare your trial objections before stepping foot into the courtroom. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep building that toolkit.